It's Tuesday night, August 16th, and it is time for Get the Backstory. Get the Backstory. I'm Michelle Petties. I'm your host, if you want to call me a host. And tonight we are doing what we do once a month on Getting the Backstory. We get the real story behind what's going on. What's the scoop? What's the real deal? So tonight we're having a conversation with Dr. Wanda Dyson. She is the medical director, founder, co-owner. I'm giving you all sorts of titles, Dr. Dyson, of Change for Life Wellness Center in Washington, D.C. We'll be in conversation with her. On the call tonight, we have Alex McCamey. Alex McCamey will be jumping in the conversation as well, talking about his weight loss journey. And I'm really glad, that Alex is a part of this conversation, because so much of what we hear about weight is focused on women. It's focused on women. So it's good to have some testosterone in the mix, as it were. But before I want to jump into my questions with Dr. Dyson, I want to set the stage just a little bit. Like I said, my name is Michelle Pettis, and I am a food story coach. And what that means is that for over 40 years, I battled my weight. I've gained and lost over 700 pounds, but it was with the help of Dr. Dyson that I was finally able to get things on track and develop some mindset shifts of my own that have allowed me to lose the weight and keep it off. And I wanted to have this conversation with her because so many people ask me, oh my God, what's your secret? What did you do? What did you do? What did you do? And people oftentimes think it's a simple quick fix. And even though they may know inside that it's not, but I wanted to bring Dr. Dyson on and have a conversation with her and get the backstory, because it is a complicated issue. And there's so much more to it than just exercise and changing what you eat. It's multi-layered. And we just have to find a way to, chunk this thing and get healthy and get control of our lives and get control of our health and get control of our bodies. And as Dr. Dyson says, what do you say, Dr. Dyson? Inner beauty, outer health, inner beauty. No. I know I messed it up.
Inner health, outer beauty.
That's right. Inner health, outer beauty.
That's my motto.
And so, let's just start with that. Because I think that is so appropriate to describe what I see that you do every day. What that means to you, what that means to your patients, and how you got to that.
Well, first of all, there's a myth to me around health. And that is, we think if we are fit and normal weight, we're healthy. And that is not necessarily the case. We have an idea about that. And there are some people, when I do a lecture called How to Be Healthy Is Not What You Think. And I also wrote a book with the same title. That, for instance, Arthur Ashe, he was the epitome of fitness. And he was doing tennis a couple hours a day, but still he had a heart attack. He had blocked arteries. So we think that if a person is normal weight and they are fit and they're exercising, that equates with health, but not necessarily. So there are a lot of other underlying things that we don't deal with, especially in conventional medicine, that I deal with. So you want to look at health in a different way, not just from appearances. There have been some fitness guys. One guy that was a track, he was a medal winning track guy, and he was trying out for the Beijing Olympics, and he actually just dropped dead. And they found that he had scarring of his heart, and he had adrenal fatigue or failure, which is not something that people talk about because we think of athletes as being healthy. And that's not necessarily the case. So first of all, I want us to look at the whole idea of health in a different way. And there are other underlying things going on. Like, for instance, a person can have nutritional deficiencies that they are totally unaware of, and they go to their conventional doctor, they get blood work done, and they're always told everything is fine. Or you go there and they do, like, because a lot of people think I'm overweight, there must be something wrong with my thyroid. So the doctors say, there's nothing wrong with your thyroid. You press them, they'll do a test, and they'll say everything is normal. Well, normal is not necessarily what falls within the normal range. Normal is what is optimized and best for you. So say a level of 2.5, just arbitrarily, is normal, but it might be better if your level was 2.8 or 3, which still falls within normal. So there are a lot of other things going on with health that we don't address in conventional medicine, which, by the way, I'm non-conventional, but also looking
but you may be non-conventional, but you are a medical doctor.
I'm a conventionally trained MD who has deviated from the norm, and I'm outside of the box, never to return again. So I was saying even other things that they don't look at in conventional medicine, like gut health. I mean, it's becoming a thing now, but it's been a thing to me since 2005, like looking at your gut and do you have the right bacteria? Are you digesting your food? You know, it's like a lot of other issues that are going on that aren't addressed that have an impact on what health is. And I'm an older person, and I'll tell my age. I'll be 68 on my birthday. And I find that as I get older, it's more of a challenge to maintain the balance. It's like a seesaw, you know, like it's like this, and you're trying to bring it back into balance because so many other things are changing as we get older. Menopause was a biggie. And when a woman's estrogen declines, women tend to gain weight. And the reason they gain weight is it's the body's defense mechanism, because the body doesn't like a state without estrogen. So what does it do? It puts on extra fat so we can make some estrogen from that extra fat. So
would you explain it? Would you break that down again? Because I remember when you first told me that, how I had to process it. And even now when you talk about it, I have to process it. But that is so important with women that are perimenopausal, menopausal, and postmenopausal, to kind of understand what it is that they're fighting, because losing weight when you're 60 is, I found, much different than what it was when I was 20.
Of course. A lot of women will say that come to me in my practice, I'm doing everything I did before. I'm working out like I did before. I'm eating the same way, but I put on these extra pounds and I can't get them off. And I'll try to explain to them that it's because of menopause that you put on the extra pounds. And you notice women have that little pooch, you know, their stomach becomes a little pooch, or their boobs get bigger, their butt gets bigger. That's because they're adding fat. The body doesn't like that state. It doesn't like the state of low estrogen. And since we have a man on the phone, it doesn't like the state of low testosterone either. So the body, it defends itself against that state. So for women, the way it defends itself is we put on extra fat. And that is because we can make some estrogen from fats. It's not the best estrogen, it's really a bad kind of estrogen, but it's estrogen nonetheless, and that's what the body wants. The body wants to keep us alive, and that's one of the ways.
So the way it seems like not to gain weight or to manage your weight is to find other ways to get estrogen and testosterone as you move into the older years that aren't related to extra fat and weight on your body.
Yes, that's one aspect of it, but there are many other things that go along with that state other than being overweight. That's just one manifestation. The other thing is heart disease, for women, osteoporosis, for men and women, diabetes. There are just a number of things that happen to us with those low hormone states. Now, for you, I actually manipulated your hormones. That was part of your weight loss program, and that was HCG. So what HCG, which is actually falling out of favor a lot, they're trying to, guess the FDA or whomever's trying to get us not to use it for that purpose anymore. But what that does is it increases your hormone, testosterone, which women have some of that too. And when it increases testosterone, it lowers your body fat and it increases your muscle, which is the same thing it would do for men. It would increase their testosterone, increase their muscle, and lower their body fat. Now, the benefit for a male of HCG over replacing testosterone in other ways is when they replace testosterone in other ways, it shrinks their testes. So that's not aesthetically pleasing. Okay. But it still works to replace it exogenously, from the outside. But it's better if you use something to increase it internally. And there are some things that you can use, such as pomegranate, chrysin, or things of that nature for men that will increase their testosterone. But the other thing for a male that will increase their testosterone is getting adequate sleep. Which is one thing that's most overlooked and most unimportant to most people, I'd say. But that's very important, sleep, because that helps to elevate the testosterone level, and it decreases if you don't get enough sleep. I actually had a patient, I think he was in his 30s, and him and his wife were trying to get pregnant, but he was a musician and he travels, around the world, and he's going across timelines and getting inadequate sleep. And he had low testosterone, low sperm count and low testosterone. So I tried to explain to him that it was because of his lifestyle, but he said there was no way he was changing it because he loves playing music. So there are multiple factors as to why people are overweight. If you don't have the proper vitamins and minerals, it's like a car, that doesn't have gas. You can't make the wheels turn. It's the vitamins and the minerals that help the wheels turn and help give you the energy, help you to use the fat, use the carbohydrates and everything that you're taking in. If you're not, if you don't have adequate vitamins and minerals, the whole thing is not going to work. So there's just multiple. I've been doing this since my son is 24. So since he turned 20, when he was a baby is when I started doing weight loss. And I actually myself, I don't know if I mentioned this to you, I probably did, but I don't often mention it, was that I had a weight problem. And I had a weight problem after I had my last child. I was 43 years old. And it was really hard to get that weight off, but I was successful. But that's another reason that women gain weight is from pregnancy, and especially if they have back-to-back pregnancies. So they put on weight, they don't fully get it off before the next one comes, so they pile some more on and on and on. So that also can cause weight gain.
And as you talk about, women gaining weight in pregnancy, one of the things that and how they do it is, especially if they're back to back, in some of the research that I was doing, just in the research that I was doing, and I was researching about weight gain during the holidays. And what the research said was that people don't really gain a lot of weight during the holiday season. It may be 1 or 2 pounds, not a lot. But what happens is they don't lose it. So you take 1 or 2 pounds and then you multiply that over, 20 years or 30 years or 40 years of 1 or 2 pounds. And then, sometime down those number of years down the line, now you've got a problem just because of, those 1 or 2 pounds each year the pounds get compounded. And so that's kind of what that sounds like to me. But as you're talking, can you like tick off or talk about some of the other different factors that are part of good health? That is, you can look healthy and not be healthy. What other things do we need to take? Is diet? You mentioned diet, you mentioned sleep, you
Nutrition.
mentioned gut health. Yes.
I mentioned nutrition, but even if you eat well, if your gut is wrecked and you don't absorb all your nutrients, you still have a problem, which most people have no idea if anything is going haywire with their gut. So that's key.
Yeah. You help me with that. With my gut health and absorbing of nutrients.
Yeah, but we have to monitor this because we're not staying the same. We're getting older. Things are changing. So we have to also, just like you take your car in, how often do you have to take your car in for maintenance?
Yeah.
How often?
Every time that little light comes on.
A couple times. Wait till it's about to break to do
it. A couple times a year when it says it's time for maintenance. So it's a couple times a year. Yeah.
But that's an approach that some people have, that when it breaks down, then let's see what the problem is.
Yeah.
But we need to make a shift in our thinking and take it in for periodic maintenance, other than when it's broken.
Got it.
So we need to do the same thing for our health. Once or twice a year, we need to look at those other parameters like gut health, like looking at the micronutrients and looking at cholesterol from a different perspective. Because when you go to your doctor, they just do your total cholesterol, your bad cholesterol, which is LDL. Think of L as lousy or lethal, and your HDL, which is your healthy. But it can be broken down further. So most people, if the cholesterol is elevated, they get slapped on what's called a statin, a cholesterol lowering medicine. But that is not the whole picture, because that LDL can be broken down further to small, dense particles or fluffy ones. And if it's fluffy, it doesn't block the arteries. If it's small and dense, it does. So it's looking at things in more detail and more subtly than conventional medicine does, and doing it more often, not waiting until a disease appears, not waiting until diabetes appears, hypertension appears, cancer appears. Look at all those vitamins and nutrients in your gut and all that, and optimize your health as much as possible. That's the best we can do.
Let's get in front of it. So I want to take a pause for a second, Dr. Dyson, and I want to acknowledge that we have another person that has joined the conversation, and I want to honor what the email said, that this is a platform for people to get their questions answered, to come and really ask you everything they always wanted to know about the thing that they never knew anything about. So Betty, I want to thank you for jumping in on the conversation. I appreciate you being here, appreciate you being in the room. And I do want to, if you're open to it, if you want to, talk about, why you jumped on the Zoom, what's important to you, if you have any questions that you want to ask, Dr. Dyson, here's certainly the place to do it. You're on your mic. You're muted. Can your mic? Can't hear you. Can you?
Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you now. No, we could. Now we can.
Okay. So I jumped on because I'm presently doing the intermittent fasting, and I was wondering, what do you guys think of that? Um, have you guys ever tried it? Does it work? Um, s- and it's fairly easy. It just takes discipline. So I just want to know, have you guys ever tried it?
Okay. Uh, I have never tried it. Dr. Dyson, you want to weigh in on the intermittent fat and the
I
intermittent
think
fasting?
I think it can work. A doctor that headed up one of these diagnostic labs that looked at gut and all the bacteria, they could tell you every type of bacteria that was in your gut and how much. She felt that that was the best way to get the gut flora back to balance was through intermittent fasting. So, but I would just say that everything is not for everybody. So if she does it and it works, fine. If she does it and it doesn't work, then she needs to look for something else, another way.
So
I'm not opposed to much of anything if it works.
yeah,
But you have to be healthy underneath it all. That's what we've been talking about. Your nutritional status,
mhm,
making sure,
mhm.
looking at those vitamins and minerals, and your conventional primary care doctor is not going to do that. They don't look at the things the way I look at them, to look at micronutrients within your cells.
Mhm.
They look at what's floating around in the blood. So if you're in good health and it works for you, do it. Some people have had success with that.
So how does fasting get rid of the bad bacteria? Does it starve it?
Honestly, I don't know. She sent me an email to that effect. Some studies or something to that effect. I didn't honestly look at it. I kind of took her word for it because she's that's what she does. She headed up the lab. She founded it. I assumed that she knew what she was talking about. I don't know, but I know that food and what we eat affects the flora. Like if we eat a bunch of sugar and fast food, it causes us to have an imbalance of the bad bacteria. So it must achieve some sort of balance,
Okay.
but it's still what you're eating is important. And fats are very important. A lot of people are afraid to eat fat nowadays, and they have the air fryers and all of that, but we do need fat. We just need good fat, which I consider to be avocado oil, coconut oil, butter, things of that nature. I don't think that we should get rid of fat in our diets. I think that's a mistake.
So, Betty, a quick question for you. What brought you to try the intermittent fasting? What made you try that route?
Okay, because it seemed easy. It seemed like something that I could do.
That's why I bought this. I don't know if you could see it. This is what people look for.
Is that bad?
That's why I bought this to the call.
Uh-huh.
This is what people want, but it's not always easy.
Okay.
It can be a complicated process.
Well,
it can be easy though. It can be easy. If it works, then that was it. That was for you.
yeah, and the reason I say that is because I don't have to go outside of the box with buying certain things.
Mhm.
It's cheaper.
Let me ask you a question.
Okay.
Don't be ashamed to tell me. It's okay. No shame whatsoever.
That's right.
So when you do eat, what are you eating? What do you eat?
I eat a lot of fruit. I eat. I haven't cut out bread. I have not did that. I eat a lot of boiled or baked food mainly, and I just eat what I normally eat. but just in a window.
What is your protein? What protein do you eat?
Eggs, chicken. What else? What's I have? Bacon, hamburger. Yeah.
What vegetables?
I like vegetables. Broccoli, um, green beans, cabbage. Um, see, cauliflower. Uh, I I am aware that I do need to include these different things in my diet. So I try to make sure I do have it, like sweet potatoes. I don't just eat a bunch of junk. I am mindful of what I do need.
And how much fruit are you eating?
As much as I can.
Why? What
Why?
fruit are you eating? What
Like
fruits?
plums. I eat plums, bananas. See, watermelon. Just apricots. Not apricot, but peaches and nectarines. Yeah,
And what time do you eat?
I eat from 9:30 a.m. until 5:30 p.m.
I don't see how that, why is that intermittent fast?
because you are. It's called a 16-8. You rest. You rest for 16 hours. You don't eat for 16 hours, and you feast for 8. So
Okay,
that's 24 hours.
so does that work? Has it been working for you? Have you lost any weight doing that?
I have, but it's slow.
How
And,
much have
and
you lost?
so I've been doing it for about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks. So like 4 pounds.
Okay. I don't think you have changed what you eat that much. You've changed probably the time that you
The
eat it in.
time, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
So it's different for each person. I can just tell you, each person needs something different. Some people need to eat more frequently, you know,
right, right.
lot more meals, like 5 to 6 meals. And like every 3 hours, they need to like
Absolutely.
constantly graze throughout the day. And that's what
Mhm.
works for them. Because it can slow your metabolism when you eat less often, but you're eating how often during the day, during those hours?
I eat all throughout the hours. I may get me, like I said, I start my day off with fruit. And then later on, if I want to go you know, grab a sandwich, I will. And then I'll cook dinner. And that will end my feasting window after dinner.
Okay. Well, if it works for you, go for it. That's all I can say. I think you need to eat, the vegetables are very healthy.
Right.
I think you need to think more about the protein that you're eating and make it a more healthy protein. Like when you do eat meat, that it should be free ranged,
Yes.
grass
Yes.
fed
Yes. Yes.
meat, you
Mhm.
know. I didn't know, I don't know what fat you're using, but I don't usually recommend that you eat lots of fruit. I don't think
Really?
that's, Yeah, I don't think that's good because fruit is still sugar.
It is.
Anything that ends in OSE is sugar. So fruit is fructose. It has fruit sugar. It's still sugar. It's better to eat it than to drink it. So it's better to eat an orange than to drink a bunch of orange juice, or eat an apple than to drink apple juice. So it's better to eat it than to drink it. But I like to use what are called low glycemic fruits.
Mm-hmm.
Fruits that don't raise your blood sugar that much.
Such as?
So bananas would not be on the list, and neither will watermelon be on your list.
But it's the berries, right? It's the blueberries.
Some of your
blueberries.
favorites would be on me. So it would be like apples, pears, berries like strawberries, blueberries, things of that nature. Now, I limit my fruit intake because there's a lot of diabetes in my family. And my relatives, my cousins, are diagnosed with diabetes in their 20s, and some of them have passed away in their 40s. So you weren't on the call, and I mentioned my age. I'll be 68 on my birthday, and I don't have any signs of that. So, but I'm very careful in how I eat. I eat plenty of fat. I eat protein, good quality protein, but I eat not a lot of fruit.
Okay. Well, let me say this first. You look like you take care of yourself. Your skin is very nice, and you just and your neck is nice too. You can tell sometimes by people's neck, but your skin is very radiant, and you can tell you take care of yourself. And I know that it's what goes into our bodies that help us to look like we do on the outside. But that's good to know. I will eat more blueberries because I like blueberries. And strawberries. As a matter of fact, I have some in there now. But that'll have to wait till tomorrow because
You got some watermelon in the refrigerator?
no, I don't. No, I don't.
Well, you know what, Betty, as you were talking about the fruit and Dr. Dyson talking about incorporating more vegetables into your diet, I will tell you one of the things that I do to help me accomplish that is that I will pair the fruit with the vegetable, like a strawberry and spinach salad, or a strawberry and spinach and kale salad,
Yes.
or a blueberry and spinach and kale salad, with some green onion, and then just like a mustard dressing. Then that you still get the flavor of the blueberries, right? You don't have to eat or whatever fruit you choose, whether it's apple or blueberry or strawberries. You don't have to eat as much of it to get full. If you're using the fruit to get full, you still get the flavor of it, but then you get the added benefit of the greens, which we need more. We need more of the vegetables.
Absolutely.
So by substituting, by cutting the fruit in half, and then just adding a fresh vegetable to it, and that has helped me over the years, over the time. And so I just wanted to make sure I added that. And I also want to add, I don't know if you are in my Facebook group or not. So my Facebook group is I Am Brand New Now, where I offer more tips like that. Just managing how to change habits, right? Habits that have been with us for so long, and making it easy, like Dr. Dyson said. The thing is not to try to do everything all at one time.
Right.
Pick one thing, knock that one thing out, feel good about that, then go on to the next thing. So if you would want to jump in that Facebook group at I Am Brand New Now, on YouTube. We have tips on YouTube. I'm on Twitter. I mean, anywhere you need some information, you need some support, because we have to support each other in this journey, right?
Yes.
We have to support each other in this journey. I have been where you are. Although I didn't do the intermittent fasting, you know, I was a yo-yo dieter for 40 years. He's 700 pounds, lose 50, gain 60, lose 60, gain 70, lose 40, gain 50. And with Dr. Dyson's help, I was able to get some peace around food and come up with some of my own mindset shifts to think differently about food, to make the changes easy. We just change what we believe about food, and it doesn't have to be hard. Let me say this: it doesn't have to be a struggle. It doesn't have to be a battle. It doesn't have to be that. If we change our belief systems, then our actions will fall into place. So so thank you for those questions. We have another person on Zoom. I don't see the name, but I want to, welcome you to the conversation, whoever you might be. And if you would like to unmute yourself, and if you have a question for Dr. Dyson, or if you'd like to share why you jumped on the call, we're happy to hear that. Or if you just want to observe, that's okay too. So I think we're going to go with that. I'm just going to observe for the moment. Alex, did you have any questions for Dr. Dyson's? She threw some nuggets out there for the guys, didn't she?
Oh, absolutely. First and foremost, I really enjoyed everything that she has spoken about already. I had some questions in reference to vitamins and minerals. Any particular vitamins are you suggesting for us folks around that age? When's your birthday, by the way? You keep saying when you're on your next birthday.
November 27th. Same day. November the 27th, the same day as Jimi Hendrix.
Oh, okay. You go, girl. I will make sure that you get a birthday card.
Sounds good to me.
And so I'm looking at, the vitamins, and I had a protein question too. What's your thinking about the powdered proteins? I mean, I do eat a lot of salmon. I'm not a big meat eater, so I'm looking at other ways of getting protein. And, as we lose weight, I guess we're losing muscle too. So I'm trying to avoid losing muscle or get, so those are my questions. What's your thinking about vitamins? What should we be looking at? And protein, we should be looking at?
Okay, so as far as vitamins and minerals, I think it should be guided by something. I don't think we should just take a hodgepodge of vitamins and minerals because it's trendy. Right now, it's trendy to take vitamin D. So a lot of people are aware of that. But I think you should know what your vitamin and mineral status is inside your cells. That's why I recommend micronutrient testing and then having a customized vitamin and mineral regimen. Now,
you said
micronutrient testing. Micronutrient testing.
Okay, got it. So
the thing is, and this is, I'm going to put it very bluntly and kind of gross too. You can eat the best food in the world, organic, free range meats, the absolute best that you can afford and that is available. And you can still have nutritional deficiencies if you don't absorb it. Right. And that is why I pointed out that the gut is so important. And some of my vegetarians have the most vitamin and mineral deficiencies.
Right.
Who are eating the most vegetables and fruits. And that's because they have other underlying issues. I don't think it is a broad stroke, and it makes me cringe when people say everybody should eat this particular food. or everyone shouldn't eat this particular food. I think it is specific to your body, and we're all individuals, even myself versus my children. You know, we're different individuals and we require something different. And I'll just use myself for an example. For 31 years, I was a vegetarian. I was every type of vegetarian that exists. I was lacto-ovo, I was macrobiotic, I was, what else? Vegan, everything you can name. I never felt great as a vegetarian. In 2005, I met my mentor, Dr. Michael Borkin. He was doing a lecture and he had something on the screen called metabolic typing. And I had no idea what that was, but I came back from that conference and looked it up and read about it. And I found out that I was a protein type. And as a protein type, I should be eating heavy meat, like not the white meat of chicken, but the dark meat, and things like bison and buffalo and, you know, steak and all that stuff. So that was like really difficult for me to think about doing that, because I was vegetarian for spiritual reasons, for environmental, for all these different things, which is very much a trend and a fad right now. So to begin to eat meat was difficult, but I did it and I felt way better. So I just don't recommend that we all are the same, that we don't all need to be on a cookie cutter plan, because for some people, whey protein will work. But if you have a food sensitivity that you're not aware of, that's not the right protein. It could be pea protein. It might not be pea protein. So it's like guessing, but you can do trial and error, see what you can do. What's called an elimination diet, take it all out and put them back in slowly and see what your body reacts to, and then don't eat those things. That's the cheapest way of doing it.
Would that also shed some light on the health of our gut? I mean, because it sounds like that's one of your pet peeves, or one of your lead thoughts is to make sure that our gut is right.
It's foundational. That's the foundation.
Okay.
If the foundation is broken, you know, it doesn't matter all these other things that you do. You know what I'm saying? If you don't absorb your food, you don't utilize it, it really doesn't matter. Or if you're ingesting food that you have a food sensitivity to, say a lot of people have gluten sensitivities, right? Or dairy. So if you're doing that, it causes what's called leaky gut syndrome. And that is, you don't absorb your food very well.
Right.
But most people are clueless. They don't know what's going on. They don't know why they're sick. They don't know why they're overweight. They don't know that they have an imbalance of bacteria in their gut. You know, they just don't know these things. It's not conventional medicine. I'm about 40 years ahead. Right. So it's going to catch up later. But a lot of people know about these things now. At least they've heard about it.
Right. So where do we go now to, you know, to push up on that, on our foundation, our gut, to find out more about it? You know, go to our regular doctors, or is there a particular test we need to look at?
They have no clue. Your regular primary care physician has no clue.
No clue.
And if you start talking to them about the things that I'm talking to you about, they probably look at you like your head is on backwards.
No, I agree with you. I do know the importance of the gut. I didn't know it was that deep as you're speaking of, in terms of absorbing the nutrients. But I do know, you know, when I'm feeling really good, my stomach is feeling good. And when I'm feeling woozy, my stomach is woozy. So I'm just trying to sharpen my skills on how to properly, excuse me, take care of the gut take care of that foundation? You know what I mean?
Right.
Any clues on that?
Well, I do testing. I started doing testing in 2005. And what prodded me to do that is when I went to this conference where I met my mentor, there was a doctor there. Her name was Dr. Cynthia Brown. And she was the medical director for Grosse Pointe Medical Center and somewhere in Michigan. But anyway, in her lecture, she said 100% of women who have breast cancer were diagnosed, no, not diagnosed. 100% of women who have breast cancer had dysbiosis. And in 2005, I didn't know what that was. Dysbiosis is the wrong type of bacteria in the gut. So I came back to my office. I got an account with the lab in Washington State, which is a world reference lab called Diagnostics. And I started testing my women that had breast cancer. And sure enough, every single one of them had some sort of infection in their gut, whether it was tapeworm, whether it was roundworm, whether it was blastocystis, giardia, something. They all had some sort of infection. So it's not something that's done with your regular lab at your doctor's office. When you go to your doctor's office and you use your health insurance, they're going to use LabCorp or Quest. And in all my years as a physician, I have never found a single thing in any of those specimens, that way of testing specimens.
And so, Dyson, we're kind of getting to the end of the hour, but as I think about everything that you have said, there are a couple of things that just like jump out at me. And that is, we have to be prepared to like shift and evaluate what's working and take the time to find out what's going to work for our best health. It's not just a one and done thing that it changes. And that, second of all, there for real is a backstory behind all that, all that we see and we hear about what it is that comprises or that makes up good health. And that it's just it's way more complicated than what you might think. Because as you're talking about gut health, I know the many conversations we had about how important water is and how important sleep is. All of those, things that kind of get glossed over that are foundational.
And all of those things affect your gut.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of sleep affects your gut. Stress affects your gut. Eating foods that you have food sensitivities to affects your gut. Menopause, going through having a low estrogen affects your gut. I mean, antibiotics, when you go to your doctor and you have an infection, a throat infection or whatever else, and they give you antibiotics, that affects your gut. There are so many things that can throw that off. I mean, if we have an accident, like something traumatic, and we end up in the ICU or whatever, even trauma, or stress of that kind can affect our gut. So that's why I said that as we get older, maintaining that balance, like a seesaw, and having to constantly adjust to maintain that balance. But I don't want to make the gentleman on the call think that I'm not answering his question. I think it's just a little bit more complicated than you think, but do your best. And I think most people aren't getting enough protein, especially with this whole vegan thing. I think it should be more, it depends on your body weight, the amount of protein that you get in a day. Right.
Well, let me let you know that you definitely answered my question. And I want to thank you and Michelle for enhancing my life today.
Oh,
you're very welcome.
Thank
Okay.
you, Alex. Thank you.
I am very happy with all the information because you just made me Want to do more homework. That's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, and you know what, Alex, here's the thing, is
Uh-huh.
that this body is the one and only body that we will ever have. And
Absolutely.
we have got to do the homework. We have got to make the time. We have got to take the time to take care of ourselves, because if we
Absolutely.
don't, we're going to end up paying the price for it.
This was the best hour of my day today.
Well,
That's good stuff.
there was a minister that used to come to my practice. He was a fitness trainer,
Oh,
but
yeah?
he made a statement that I never forgot, and that was, "There's nothing that you can do on this earth without your body."
Mm,
Wow.
yeah.
You know, so a lot of times we're chasing wealth and we're forgetting
Wow.
about health, and it's
Wow.
really hard to get that back when you lose it.
Yeah. True.
I'll drink to that.
True
Water.
that.
All right.
True that. True that.
Water.
So Dr. Dyson, thank you so much. Ramona has very kindly put your information in the chat. I want to thank everybody
Oh,
on
it
the
is?
call tonight.
Oh,
Thank you, Zoom
Ramona.
user. Thank you for jumping in. Alex, thank you for always being a support. Betty, welcome to the food story movement. Check me out. We'll be doing this again next month. I mean,
Okay.
the guest next month is I can't even tell you now, but be on the lookout, because the guest next month is gonna have your toes curling. We're gonna have some really important conversations about some mindset shifts that we need to make, because as much as we need to take care of our gut, as much as we need to sleep, as much as we need to change our diet for what's best for us, all of that is more difficult if we don't change our mind, if we don't change what we fundamentally believe about how we manage food. So we're always in that space. We're always operating in that space. The information is in the chat. She's Dr. Wanda Dyson, Change for Life Wellness Center. I don't know if you're in the DC area, but if you're in the DC area, she's right down there on Capitol Hill. You can get there. You can get there by Metro. And before you do anything, you're right. It is before you make the steps, you've got to have some guidance. You've got to. So many times we try to take this journey alone without professional support, without the support of community. And as soon as we discover that we have community, a safe place to make the journey, to explore some people that can, that's you're like Harriet Tubman, So because if we don't get control of this food thing, we will be slaves to it.
Yeah.
This food addiction will rob us of our freedom.
Yeah.
But there's a way for us to get free.
I want to throw one more thing in there.
Okay.
Because when we eat or we desire certain foods, it's because of an imbalance in our brain chemicals. And we need amino acids, which come from protein, to balance out our brain chemistry, so we don't desire certain foods, as in lots of sweets.
Yep.
Or we don't binge eat.
Yes.
So the whole mindset thing, we have chemicals in our brains that help us to have that balance. And that also happens through food, which we also have to have a functioning gut to bring those vitamins and nutrients in. Just wanted to say that.
Yeah. And it's all connected. It's all connected. It's all connected. We improve one, we improve the other, step by step by step by step. So thank you, Dr. Dyson. Wonderful, great information as always. Your information is in the chat for people to get in touch. If you want to get in touch with me, you can certainly find me on Twitter, find me on Facebook. You get a link to my calendar, and we can have a separate conversation. But we're here because we're all on this journey together.
Yes.
All right. Good night, all. It was a pleasure, and I wish you all the best in your continued journey.